Oh, oh, okay, someone's here. Cool. A lot of things have been added recently in updates to Skyblock that have made powder mining seriously much easier to do. So here I'm going to be showing you the optimum gear to powder mine most efficiently. A lot of things have been added recently that have benefited powder mining a lot, especially when it comes to mithril and gemstone powder. And hopefully this guide will help you teach how to powder mine much more efficiently in the big 26. When it comes to mithril powder, this is the gear you're going to want to have. First and foremost, a mithril gel SXR326. I'll just put the image there. You're going to want a mithril drill SXR326, which runs plus 40% mithril powder when held. This should be reforged to Stellar, which gives between plus 8 to 20% more mithril powder when mining near a fallen star. You should also have a spicy gauntlet omelet applied to it, which grants plus 20% more power from all sources. This means at maximum capability, your drill is going to be able to give plus 80% more mithril powder. You should also aim to have a mithril golem pet that's at least legendary, since its legendary perk, the smell of powder, grants an additional plus 20% mithril powder when at level 100. Your armor should be reforged to dimensional, since it has a bonus that grants plus 10 mithril powder when mining titanium. This stacks per piece, so you grant a maximum of 40 mithril powder while doing so. Do know that this is plus 10 per piece, not plus 10% per piece. Your equipment should be reforged to royal, since it grants plus 5% more mithril powder from mining events. This is really, really important, since events can give a lot of powder, as you will later see. Additionally, make sure to eat a powder pumpkin. If I go over here, you'll be able to find Brynmore in the Dwarven Tavern. You'll be able to buy a powder pumpkin, which runs plus 15% mithril powder for a whole hour, and it only costs 50,000 coins. I have the cricket artifact in my inventory right now, in my accessory bag right now, so I have a discount. And if you want to save time, and you don't want to head over to the Dwarven Tavern every single time you want to refill, you can always go to the Abandoned Quarry, and you'll be able to fish in here for a very, very, very rare chance to get a speckled teacup. This is soulbound and cannot be traded, and you can give it to Brynmore to unlock its NPC contact, meaning instead of having to do /warp mines and go all the way back, and have to go all the way back to the Dwarven Tavern and all the way back to the vein you're mining, you can just call them on your Abaphone. So there's also a lot of other things from mithril powder, which I'll go over shortly. People might argue that, you're talking about the abandoned quarry? Maybe I should fish there and get a bunch of mithril grubbers. Don't. The raids are really awful, and there's a much more efficient way to get a lot of mithril powder, that is through events. Essentially, during active events, you can get, as long as you participate enough, you get enough tickets, you trade enough tasty mithril, you kill enough goblins, you're going to be getting those rewards. And that, if your rates are optimal, you can get upwards of 20 to 30,000 mithril powder per event. The Mithril Gorman is special because, unlike the other events, you want this to drag on for as long as possible, so that everybody can get as much tasty mithril as possible, and everybody can get the most mithril powder as they can. It is very, very, very frowned upon to end a Mithril Gourmand really, really early, so just wait out the 10 minutes and just keep mining, because that is how you ensure you and everyone else gets the best mithril powder rates. As you can see here, even though somebody ended the event early, I still got 38,000 mithril powder. Also, ignore this Gigamog guy in the chat. He was hating on me, and I just ignored him. But yeah, that just goes to show how absolutely insane events can be. Even if you're not doing it correctly, even if you mess it up and end it early, you still get nearly 40,000 mithril powder. That was more than I had originally anticipated. I was expecting 18 to 24,000 mithril powder. This is 38,000. Actually, that's kind of insane. That's kind of insane in my opinion. For gemstone powder, this is the gear you're going to want to have. First, you're going to want a Jasper Drill X, which grants plus 20% gemstone powder when held. This should have a spicy goblin amulet applied to it. You also want a legendary Scathoped, since its Bejeweled Eyes perk grants plus 20% more gemstone powder when equipped. Do note that the Scathoped is extremely rare and extremely expensive, so this will take a lot of time to get, and a legendary Armadillo can be used in the meantime. The best method to get a bunch of gemstone powder is by opening treasure chests, and you can get this by mining hardstone, and you'll basically just get a bunch of gemstone powder and a bit of essence. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to max out Great Explorer, since that increases the chances of you finding treasure chests, and it also reduces the number of locks you need to pick. So since I have it maxed, all I need to do is just right click it and bosh, it's done. And here I can just get lots and lots of gemstone powder. It's really, really nice. Additionally, there's also an attribute shard called the Silent Depth shard, and basically it grants the Crystal Serendipity attribute. And what this does is it grants a tiny chance, I think it's 20% or 10%, you'll see in the image, but it grants a percentage chance to double all rewards you get from a treasure chest, which basically means, for example, if you get like 200 gemstone powder and a bit of gold essence, you get double that, which is absolutely insane. You should get this immediately. What you'll want to do, if I go into my backpacks over here, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to place some traps in the crystal hollows, and make sure that it's in water. And this will give you a tiny chance to get a Silent Depth shard. Finally, for Glaciite powder, Glaciite is among Glaciite is pretty easy to get, to be honest. So what you want to do is, you can literally just loot corpses and get a lot of Glaciite powder. The Glaciite Golem pet is going to be our best friend here, since it grants increased Glaciite powder while inside a mine shaft. This is actually really, really good, and it's also the first perk that it has, so you'll be able to have it at like common and stuff. But obviously you'll want to have it at legendary. Right now I have a rare one since I don't do glaciite mining that much, but essentially more powder is always good, and it also gives mining fortune and pristine in mineshaft, so that's always really, really nice. These are the attributes that you should aim to get for the best rates. Atomized mithril from hunting star sentries. Atomized crystals from hunting fists with a lasso. Atomized glaciite from fusing quartz fangs and either silent depths or attributes in the cave dweller family into stalagmites. You can get quartz fangs by fusing troglodytes with abyssal lanternfishes. You can get the former by fusing cave dweller and combat shards together, and the latter by placing hunt traps in water in the dwarven mines. Crystal serendipity from siphoning silent depths. I went over this earlier. Echo of Atomize from siphoning iguanas. They can be obtained by fusing gecko shards with itself. And finally, Echo of Echoes from siphoning Tiamets. They can be obtained by fusing Cayman shards with epic combat shards or higher. Cayman shards can be obtained by fusing alligator shards with rare combat shards or higher. And alligator shards can be obtained by fusing crocodile shards with itself. It's confusing, I know. And once you have all of these attributes maxed out, you'll be able to get the best rates. There's probably a few that I haven't mentioned that I've forgotten about, for maybe Fungi Luck, which grants an additional charge upon starting the fossil excavator, because, oh, that means it's a higher chance to get a tiny bit of glaciite powder, but there's probably a bit of stuff that I'm missing, but these are all the most important stuff. This section is dedicated to all the stuff that I forgot to talk about in the main guide. Well, that took ages. Hopefully you enjoyed the guide. I've got a giant pimple on my forehead. And, yeah. See you in the next video, guys. Hopefully it helped you. Bye-bye.